Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Modular Beat. This is week 4, the 4th Modular Beat that we've done. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is a weekly Modular Synth show, number one in this time slot across America, as you probably already read about in the papers. But anyhow, thanks so much for coming and joining. I have a couple guests today, and I have an interview that I recorded with Omri Cohen that I'm also going to play. But let me go ahead and introduce our guests for today. We have Sam from Waveform Magazine, aka Tuesday Adventure. Hey, there he is.
Hey.
Right, cool. Awesome. And I also have CK Sample hanging out all the way out in Dallas, hanging out with us today. So Thank you two guys for joining the Modular Beat.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
right on.
Thanks for having us on.
So I just wanted let's just get everybody a little bit acquainted with who you are and what you're up to. So Sam, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on with Waveform Magazine, what it is if people haven't checked it out, and how you play a part in that.
Sure. So Waveform Magazine is a print. I have one right here. Actually, it's a print magazine about synths.
Nice.
And synths, synthesizers, modular focus, but we're not exclusive. But yeah, we do a bunch of interviews with people in the scene, manufacturers especially, trying to get to know them beyond just what they make, and just because it's such a cool scene and the people behind it are also super cool. So like to get to chat with them and get their stories out is kind of the main motivation. And we do gear reviews and things in there as well.
And album reviews too sometimes.
And album reviews, yep. Lots of music reviews, and we do some profiles on synth shops around the world, stuff like that. So it was founded by Ellison Wolf, and I'm a co-editor and contributor, et cetera. But yeah, everybody, if you don't know about it, you should check us out, waveformmagazine.com, subscribe.
Yeah, I just dropped the link to the site so they can get that. I subscribe. I love it. It's nice to get. It's a nice magazine. It's beautifully made, and I like the way it's the layout and the writing on it's really great.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah,
we have fun with it.
The other thing I should mention too is you guys come up with really cool T-shirts and panels for if not all of them, but some of the different publications, right? And then you also have these, which I'm going to talk about more, but you even have kits.
Yeah. So we do a sort of limited edition T-shirt per issue, kind of the cover, and then each issue also has a DIY section, which is generally one of like a kit that Ellison has designed or a module, and then in each issue it has sort of a build guide and walkthrough of that. And they're available at Patchworks, a sponsor of this show.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's where we got our kits from Patchworks. So you can head over to Patchworks and check out their DIY section, or just do a search for the Waveform kits. I'm not doing a really great job presenting these like all over the place, but this is awesome. I'll talk a little bit about what I got in my hand in a second here. CK, tell us a little bit about what you're up to and how you're involved in the scene.
Yeah, I'm just I'm always streaming to Earth Modular Society and my own YouTube and Blastbox now too. I think I've been playing around with that a lot. And am I echoing? I should have headphones. You guys have headphones. Anyway, been doing that, and I'm supposed to be lining up some audio for a Data Called Audio coming up, which will be cool. And I just got back from KnobCon last weekend and met a bunch of people there and had a really good time. So just lots of just performing, having fun, learning more modular, getting more modules, selling more modules, trying not to let my addiction overtake my life.
How long have you been into modular?
Probably about 4 to 5 years, something like that now, I think, is when I first started, and was kind of just in a little small case for a long time. And then over the course of COVID, it kind of exploded a bit. I mean, I already had a big case. I probably had a 360, but over COVID, I expanded it out a bit to a whole bunch more. I've got like a 208 case plus a 360 case plus 2 little pods plus an Akai Force. So it just keeps growing. But I'm trying to stay within this, fits in this desk footprint for the main rig that I play off of. And I had the interesting experience at KnobCon of performing for the first time ever in real meet space in front of people. And I had not brought stuff to actually do anything with. I had brought my Akai Force, which I was just learning, and a 42 HP 4MS pod of stuff to experiment with that I didn't really know well. And I managed to pull it off. It sounded okay. Good
Trial by fire.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Let's get in there. The cool thing about modular is that people don't know if you're making a mistake. They're like, I think that's what he meant to do.
Yeah, well, I was just worried I would hit some key on the Force and everything would just stop. Because if I had switched lanes, the CV track where I was running the ARPs to run the oscillator, because I didn't have a sequencer that I normally play with in my rack, like I was using the CV from the Force to do everything. If I had hit the wrong button, I knew at any moment it could just go dead.
Yeah.
So I was very cautious.
Yeah, there's we might have to do a show about just the anxiety and things you have to think about doing live performances, because definitely like stopping unexpectedly is the worst. Like when there's no sound coming.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's worse than like trying to figure out where a sound's coming from. So there's that. Someone was asking how you like using that blast radio.
It's cool. Like I've been streaming. I've been troubleshooting some issues with my home network, and I've been working with the people at Blast to try to overcome it. But they also have a plugin coming out for Ableton soon, I think. Well, they have them in beta, but I don't have it yet. So I'm looking forward to that, so I can kind of try to stream directly from my computer, see if I have a little bit better results, because I've had some choppiness on some of my streams with them. But I think it's the fact that I have 2 kids and a wife who are streaming things in the house at all times at the same time that I'm doing stuff, and YouTube's buffering is a little bit more forgiving for video streaming than trying to stream high quality live audio, which is what they offer, which is cool.
Sam, have you seen that blast radio thing?
No, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's like, so they get like a box. They send you a box.
Yeah, it's this little box, and it has like a little stereo out, and you plug it into whatever, and if you turn it on, there's a little screen underneath there. I don't know if you see it.
Yeah. Like they took like some. Oh,
that's actually your name. It says, "Oh, there's my Wi-Fi."
Oh, nice.
And then it says it's ready to start streaming, so I can plug this in. It's the audio out of this. I couldn't hear you guys anymore. I could start streaming it immediately.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool.
That's cool, and it's just an audio stream.
Yeah, it's just an audio stream, but it does. After you stream, you can download a high quality copy of what was streamed, which is cool. And it's just for, I think it's 24 hours. Like it's only live on there that you streamed it. You can listen to it live, or it stays on for 24 hours. And then because of my networking issues, I've had a couple of streams that I've done that I've immediately taken down because I'm like, crap, it had issues again, But like, I think it's once I figure that out, I think it's going to be pretty cool. And I'm hoping to have where I can stream to Earth Modular Society and Blast Radio at the same time and kind of have like a thing going there. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, and a lot more people were doing it. I know Kronk was doing it. Patrick O'Brien was messing around with it.
Yeah,
Jono did it. So it's kind of taking off in the synth scene, which is pretty cool. That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds cool. I kind of, that box is interesting. I was interested when they first set up, when they were talking about it, I'm like, oh, it has its own like hardware. Like you don't see very many things with its own hardware for.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine if like YouTube sent you like, oh, here's your YouTube box to like be able to do. That would be okay.
HR Terror in the chat is saying that there's no community interaction, but actually there is. You can like something while you're listening, and the box like will actually light up red like when people
really?
Okay. While you're performing live, which is kind of cool visual feedback, and people can also tip you, but there's no like chat or anything, so you can't sit there and.
I'm all about the chat.
What oscillator are you using? You know, that doesn't happen.
Yes. That's awesome. Speaking of playing for people and stuff, Sam, I want to like mention real quick about what's going down in Carbondale, Colorado.
That's right. The modular synth mecca of Carbondale. Look out.
There it is. You heard it here first, folks. If you're gonna come to Colorado, go to Carbondale if you want to get a synth.
That's
experience.
right. Yeah. So Matthew Jinks, who's a CMSS member as well, and we're starting a last Sunday of every month, just a sort of live, informal synth meetup / show. I guess it's not really a meetup since it's just the two of us, but we're gonna play at a local coffee shop for a few hours on Sunday mornings, and you know, kind of just do some improv, live patching, try out patch ideas, and chat with people if they're interested.
That's cool.
So it should be a blast.
What are you gonna bring? What are you gonna bring to a show like that?
I don't know. I've been going over before I left last week. I was like, well, I got to put together a case because I had everything in my big case. So I kind of just been throwing stuff in there and then playing with it at night for an hour or so and deciding whether I want to bring it or if I want to switch anything out. But right now, I've got just a 6U 104, 208 total, but it's full. What's in there?
Drums in there, or is it going to be like more?
I do. It's going to be mellow, so it's not going to be, a lot of
acid house.
Yeah, exactly. Acid house with your coffee on Sunday morning. That's the second Sunday of the month.
Yeah.
No. No. I have the assimilator in there, which is everything. So I'm trying to keep it open and flexible because I want to just be able to go there and figure it out as I go along,
Nice.
And then because I think we're going to take turns, so it'll be fun to sort of see if we can get something different each round. Maybe we'll see.
How do you like the assimilator? That's one that I haven't gotten yet, and I just sold my ER301, and I still have mixed feelings about having sold it. But we're debating assimilator. I
love it. It's great. It's very much like a Rossum kind of product. Their paradigm is kind of carries across. So, but I think there's a lot going on, but it's not too bad in terms of, it's all relative, right? what in terms of, how having to get in there, but I think they do a good job of keeping the menus pretty flat and, but it's really flexible, especially with, it's great if you just want to use it as, sampled drums or whatever, but I think it's real strength. The way that I like to use it anyway is just taking samples and kind of messing with them or turning them into oscillators or this sort of stuff and you can kind of do cool things where you can have triggers chain down different sounds. So it's super deep. And I'm no master of it, but it's definitely cool in my opinion.
Yeah, they're unfollowing me because I sold my ER301. I've been debating between that and the new ADAC looper, the granular sampler.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Huge that a couple of people have. I've been following people that have that on my modules server. Oh, by the way, I have a Discord too. That's modules. And if you go to my site cksample.com/modules. You can get an invite to join there, and we're trying to create a room for every module that anyone wants to talk about, which is insane, but it's kind of fun.
But it's cool, yeah. Well, you're talking about two different kinds of modules: the simulator and the granular one for sure. But similar. But the thing that is similar, like they both have their own mentality on like design and workflow. ADAC stuff is definitely a whole nother ecosystem.
Yeah.
Which I honestly I don't have any ADAC stuff, but I have friends who have ADAC stuff, and I actually am really intrigued by it. Anything that has a ton of in and outs. Like I'm like, okay, now we're talking.
Yeah, their stuff is dense, but great. But it's definitely like you gotta like get in there,
Exactly. They have a breadboard module. You know, have you seen that?
No, I've seen that one that's like what is the heartbeat one?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. That is just insane. I mean, that's pretty cool. I wish I had one to see what it's like. Someone asked me, because we're doing our DIY show on Sunday, and someone said, "Are you going to talk about breadboards?" And I was like, I probably at some point should, but I don't know anything about it. But I remember looking at that heartbeat module that ADAC has, and thinking, "Geez, you got to be really into it to be sitting there with the breadboard in your rack." That seems pretty awesome. Yeah.
Is that the one? I think DivKid did a video on that one where he actually attached the sensor to his earlobe or something. It's pretty funny.
Oh, really? That's funny. Oh, that heartbeat. Yeah, that looks awesome. Someone said we need to talk about the Bleep Block 2000. Have you guys? 2000. I think that's a good time to bring up the modular grid real quick, so people can point to some of these things while we're talking about it. Let me just get that up real quick. It's I'm just looking at it now. I'm not even sure if it's even on modular grid, which is weird. Oh, there it is. Okay, I haven't pulled up everybody real quick. Let me share what I'm seeing. There we go. So After Later Audio's Bleep Bloop is what we're talking about here. This is Tim Held's this thing. If anyone's been paying attention, like a long time ago, Tim had this panel made. It didn't look exactly like this, but it looked very similar. And he was like, "Oh, one of these days, I might make it into a module at some point." And then he started to like work with After Later Audio a lot more. And then this came out this week. But it's actually like no joke though. It's pretty dope. I mean, it's got like some really weird sounds and generation. It's just a strange module, which is perfect for Tim. It's very, different and I kind of want to hear it, but the look of it's something else.
I kind of want to get it just to put it next to my unicorn boom in my case, so that you've got the unicorn's butt and then the splarf on this one right next to each other.
I love these names of everything. Clonk. So yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts on that first? Have you guys heard it yet? Any demos yet?
No, I haven't had a chance to see any demos, but I'm sure it'll be fun.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely has like the sense of humor of Tim, but it also has like the cool designing that After Later Audio's been doing lately, which has been pretty awesome.
Yeah, it looks great. They did a really nice job on it.
4-voice oscillator. So that in itself is pretty gnarly, if you ask me, for sure. Speaking real quickly of like new modules, I should ask you guys real quick about some of the top 3 like modules you saw at recent conventions. I know CK Sample, you were at NobCon, Tuesday Adventure. Sam, you were over at Superbooth.
Yeah.
So let's just go in chronological order since NobCon was first. So CK, what did you see at NobCon that you were like, wow, I'm still thinking about it?
I think the things that I saw that I really was like, oh wow. I mean, there was a lot of cool stuff. Like WD had the Kraken there, and their setup. The new Euro Bureau was there, like in modular format, which was cool. But the Industrial Music Electronics had 3 prototypes of his stuff there. They weren't released yet, which was nerve-wracking. But he had them all with cool black panels, and he had a one called I want to say this is the Andor Junior. But it's basically a VCA that seems to be an Industrial Music Electronics version of a VCA that's built similarly to the Natural Gate. Like if you imagine the Natural Gate as VCAs instead of low pass gates, and he had that paired with the new Stilson Hammer MK3 that he had there too. And the Stilson Hammer MK3 now has will have a velocity out that can go into that module and actually affect the velocity in addition to the note and the gate. So it was really those two together were really cool. And he also had a granular one there as well that looked cool. But all of those, I was just like, when are these coming out? Can I have them in black panel? And he goes, no, they won't be in black panel in production. And I'm like, but I like black panels, please. So, and then not at NobCon, but this was actually, just a bridge over, and then I'll pass it off to you. I saw the board brain stuff, and I actually ordered the EQ X5, the new 5-channel equalizer, and it's really cool. Like it's everything's modulatable on it, and it's been fun to play around with, especially with drums, to get a lot of variety in your drum sounds.
Sweet,
that's awesome. So you have that new EQ?
Yeah, it's right it's at the end of my chain right now in this current patch. But yeah, I stuck it in my case. I was like, okay, EQ in my case. But just the fact that every single knob on it is modulatable made me go, huh? I want that.
Yeah.
And it feels solid too. Like it's really nicely designed. And the back of it, like it's solid black, like all of it for the most part, except for the gray knobs on the front of it. And on the back, it's all black. And the power cable in the back to hook it up into your rack is black with a gray stripe instead of the normal whatever with a red stripe. So it's got a really good aesthetic and feels pretty solid for a first time Eurorack releaser.
Let me just pull it up so people can see what you're talking about here.
Yeah,
we were talking about the board brain modules last week, and I think we were talking more about the optics one.
Yeah,
but I hadn't got a chance to look at this EQ.
Yeah, it's cool because it's got this, like down here at the bottom where it has the out L plus R. You can either use it stereo with the left and right out, and then the balance works as a pan from left to right across the whole signal. But the out L and R actually combines the two as the L and R ends as two mono signals, and then it acts as a crossfader between them. The balance does, so you can do some interesting patches with crossfading with that, and the balance itself is modulatable too, so you could like automate that too to do a cool crossfader effect in addition to messing with all the bands of EQ that this offers.
Cool.
Nice.
That sounds awesome. Sam, what did you see? Superbooth.
Superbooth is overwhelming, and it wasn't even, as big as it usually is this year. It was cool though. They had it spread out a little bit more outside in the woods. They had these tents, and then farther on down the path, they had kind of I joked that it was like synth camp. They had these kind of little cabins, these bungalows that had, manufacturers set up in them. But it was cool. I think actually not a module, but the real standout was that the new Erica Synth drum machine, the Percons.
Yeah,
that thing was awesome.
Yeah, that thing looks cool.
It was great. The coolest part of it sounded great, but it was so like intuitive and playable right away. It was awesome. I really enjoyed that. And it's hard when you're at NobCon or Superbooth with so much going on, and to get into the details of all the modules and stuff is sort of like, you're like, what? What is this?
Yeah.
What else was cool? Your Analog had like 3 new modules that he's coming out with. Looked pretty cool. Like his version of a step sequencer. I think he called it step 8. That looked cool. And he had like a Chaos oscillator, which also was really cool looking. Kind of went from weird modulation you could make all the way up to audio rates as an oscillator. So it was pretty cool. Who else had some cool stuff? Oh, that new Winter Modular and
the Zaps.
the Zaps with Plankton. Is that what they're? Yeah, Plankton winter module.
This one here.
That thing was really cool. A lot of features, you know, in a small, relatively small module, and kind of I got the flavor of like both those guys, Eloy and Alex, in the sort of the workflow of the module itself when he was giving me a demo. So that was cool. I thought it sounded great too. What else did I see? It was cool. I mean, there was a ton of stuff. The new Rabbit Elephant, that portal drum.
Yeah, how did that sound?
Sounds great. I mean, it's, you know, it's a percussion module, but that was cool too. Again, it's kind of hard to get a full vibe of it without sitting down and hanging out with it for 3 weeks, but it sounded great, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks
How big
awesome.
is this?
Say again?
How big is this?
2082. That is you know, that's like mutant brain drum sizes. You know, you remember like when like you first were gonna get into like modular drums, and you're like, oh snap, like the toms are like this big, and everything was big, and then the BIA came out, and it's slim, and then ever since then it's been Slim City. I feel like now we just looked at this portal drum and then that Plankton. They're pretty big percussion modules, which isn't. I'm not anti big modules. I'm not that guy. But you know, it is interesting that you know, that we're kind of coming back to like, you know, more options. This portal. I mean, for one out, that is a lot of real estate there. But there looks like it's probably. I mean, is it just a drum, or is it gonna have like? Is there something else that's something about it that makes it different than just a kick?
It's I mean, it's percussive focused. You know, I'm not going to answer that well. It is pretty much just a drum. It's definitely, I think, one of those modules that's for the connoisseur. You know, it's not like, what should I get for my first or second module? Not the portal drum. You know what I mean? It's like one of those ones where you're like, you know, where you're going to spend a long time crafting the perfect kick or the perfect, you know. But I have to admit, it sounded pretty rad.
Yeah. Did you get any demos of it, of like how modulatable it is? Because like, you know, that's the one thing I was wondering about it in terms of, can it be like, you know, the BIA is great because you can make it jump around and make a bunch of different drum sounds out of something that's dialing in ostensibly just one drum sound. And this is bigger, and it seems much more focused on sound design of individual drum parts, but I don't know if I could make it jump around or not.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. You know, again, I just got a short look at it, but I mean, their philosophy is definitely different than some of the other module designers out there. You know, they take their time. They're going for a specific vibe, or like a really like they're filling a kind of a niche need of people. You know, those who are really into the, you know, like crafting that perfect kick sound or low end.
And I can't say that it's bad to get a module like this, considering I do have the Unicorn Boom taking up 22 HP of my rack space for a kick, and it doesn't seem to have as much sound design as this does. So
yeah, I'm interested in that EQ span knob there, what that's like. So yeah, that sounds cool. I mean, I think last show I was talking about this, how many drum modules and the Erica synth, their new drum machine. Like there's so much great drum options right now. And then if you have an assimilator or bitbox or whatever, like the fact that those things are so fast, zero latency, you know, if you didn't want to go with modulation, the options for samplers in your rack for stuff like drums is also pretty awesome right now.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're in a kind of a golden age of modular drums and percussion. You know, like nothing I've seen previously in previous years. So you mentioned something else that you also saw there, but what I wanted to ask you, did you get a chance to check out and I'm gonna screw up the name of this. Let me see if I can find out that guy. There's a device. I know one's called the Orbit, and then the other one, the one I'm thinking about, is another one, and it has like this,
that new Zeit module
yeah,
or whatever.
use that, yeah,
Yeah, what's it, like a quad, kind of like
yeah,
a binaural or something. I
yeah.
didn't get to check that one out. I didn't see those guys. Well, it's easy to miss things, but
It's hiding in the in the tree somewhere. Maybe. I did see a video of that layout. It looked kind of fun to be able to walk around and kind of. I don't see it on here. It's not on here yet, but I saw I'll look up the link and I'll drop it in the description later. But I saw him with Tom from Synth Autonomy, and he had an interview, and they did like a little like demo, and it was trippy. It was really trippy, like how he was making that sound like go behind you, in front of you, around you, like different like yeah, just a really cool idea of space. And I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. That's a cool thing. But then he was able to take like a drum track and keep the bass in the center, but the high frequencies were moving. And I thought, well, that's
cool.
okay. Now we're talking. And then he had another in of another sound. So now he has two sounds coming in: the drum track and then another track. And the high frequency is moving one way, and the second sound is moving in another, and the bass is still in the center. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, that sounds so cool. Like, wait a minute. Like, I started like, you know, being into ambient music. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get this. It's starting to get good. So, we'll have to like look that up more and see what's up with that thing, because that's a pretty cool module. So I cannot think of the name of it though.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
if anybody knows what I'm talking about, the thing I saw, I'll have to like pull it up. But yeah, anyhow, it sounded cool.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I mean, it's hard. There was a lot of trying to think of anything else.
Quasar, sorry.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's the Nizit Instruments Quasar. So, so go check out that demo. For sure. That's cool. Well, that Erica drum, Erica synth drum machine seemed to got a lot of.
Yeah, it got some hype.
Yeah,
it was cool. I gotta admit, it was pretty cool. And it's 0 HP, as they say, right?
yeah, just more desk space. Did anybody see this Boundary?
Oh yeah,
that looks interesting.
Yeah, Eric's such a cool guy too.
So I haven't seen this. So what's that all about?
I didn't get a chance to mess with that, but I think it's it's kind of a quasi VCA envelope function-y kind of thing.
Yeah, with some slew capabilities. Like it's one where I thought that looks cool. I want to see a really good demo video of it so I can understand what's going on, because I'm not sure right now. But I love like the 100 grit is like never leaving my case. I love that module so much. I love their stuff. So
yeah. The thing is with Eric's stuff, it's like even if you're not quite sure, it's almost worth just getting it and finding out, because you do have to dig into his stuff sometimes. It's different enough that you gotta mess with it, but it looks great.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, it looks serious. Yeah, this is definitely one of those modules that yeah, it's probably not your first module that you're going to get. It's probably not even your third. This is probably like the third year, second year before you start getting into this. You're like, okay, this is
Just skip getting maths and get this instead. Sorry, I'm anti-maths.
Well, I mean, this is the crazy thing that's going on right now. I feel like with so many new modules coming out. And Sam, you probably see this, with been doing reviews. There's just, it's like more and more people are getting really, I wouldn't say risky, but they're really pushing the boundaries. Excuse the pun while I'm looking at boundary. As far as like what they're putting into the market. It's interesting because when you look at something like other music instruments out there, sometimes people will put out something kind of wild, like a weird piano or even a weird synth, but they usually still kind of conform to something that like people understand and can kind of like grasp and go, cool, I can make a track out of that. But with Eurorack modules, and definitely with some of these particular module makers, people are making really non-commercial like esque thing. Like not, I mean, they're commercial to a certain. Someone's gonna buy them, but they're not gonna be maths, right? They're not. Right. They're not even like a complex oscillator, which people can kind of wrap their head around. They're so different, and so it's I love that people are doing things like that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think part of it too is that the market for a VCA and sort of these more bread and butter modules is so saturated now that there's less of a sort of demand for that thing, and B, you have to sort of make your own twist on it, or you have to take it to design a module from your perspective, or what sort of put your spin on it. And I think too that because there's the basics are covered so well that it does, in a way, it makes room for those kind of esoteric modules, or the ones that are a little more have a more narrow focus within this already narrowly focused market. But I think it's great because that you need something to stand out more and more these days, and I think it's great that people are taking risks like that. First of all,
yeah.
I think every once in a while, like somebody comes out with something that's like unique in a way where it becomes a fan favorite. Like even though not everybody might use it, and it becomes like when I think about modules that I've gotten that aren't your normal modules. Like one of them I bought and I sold and I kind of regret it. And I always think is awesome. It's the Panharmonium, which I used to have. And I really loved it, but it was also, I felt like I kept on dialing it into the same thing lazily. And that was largely on me and my impatience. And so I got rid of it, but I always think about that module like, oh, I need to get that again someday because it's just so unique in a really interesting way. And then, and like the scanned from,
Qubit,
because it's a whole type of synthesis that doesn't exist in modular except in this one module, and it does some really interesting sounds, and you can definitely get the same sort of thing where you get stuck in a zone with it that's sort of whatever. But I don't think I'll ever sell that one just because of how unique some of the drones you can get out of it and stuff are. Like it's just really good. And the other thing though, like David, that I've noticed as I've been deeper and deeper into modular is I've started moving away from, I think when you first start out, you're really obsessed with case size and trying to keep it to small HP. And so you look for modules that are multifunction that take up less space.
Yeah.
And if you really start playing and performing and starting to do things, you realize I need something that has a good workflow and it has a good UX to do whatever I need it to do. And it may be able to do three things, but I may just be using it for this one thing consistently. And if it's a reliable, piece for that, then that's my unit. And so like, I think most of my buying and selling over the past year has been me moving from, 8 HP, 10 HP to like 14 HP, 20 HP at times for really focused, stuff. So
yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I think I went a little bit the other way around, only because of just the nature of things. Like, I think like a lot of people, I bought, a lot of mutable instrument stuff, and that was pretty big HP. And then I started getting the smaller versions of those. And then eventually I got the Ornaments and Crime, but I definitely got it because it was like, cool, I could pack the punch with just one module and have like this really awesome utility knife of module. And it still is like one of my favorite, but I get the appeal of like, looking at some Surge stuff or even the new Buchla stuff from Tip Top. It looks really great to have something really dedicated.
yeah,
So like that, a real dedicated function generator, seems extremely sexy to me right now, even though I clearly don't have the space in the situation I'm in right now. But I mean, I get it.
Yeah, Antone Real was at NobCon, and he brought his Buchla music easel, and we had a jam session in my room, and it just like him playing that for a few minutes, I was like, oh God, I need to get one of those now. And then the Tip Top announcement came out, and I was like, oh, I'll be able to actually afford to get one of those now.
Yeah, those look cool. The 200 series Tip Top.
Yeah, that looks really great. The price looks even as good.
Yeah.
which is awesome. I mean, and I think it looks super cool. I love it. I'm excited for that for sure. And I know you're feeling. I know how it feels to touch an easel. Like I had an easel, buddy had an easel, and I got a chance to play with it. And I feel like I can like make an album like right then and there. Like I can just record right now and be happy with this. Like this is just working. It's just I'm just vibing with it for sure.
Well, that's kind of the bass line going, and it was like, wow, you got all that out of that. Wow, it was just nuts.
It's the blessing and the curse of Eurorack, I think, too, is it's so open, and especially as you kind of move through it, you start to, like you say, figure out what works for you, which is going to be different from somebody else, and what modules speak to you, what workflows speak to you. But there is something alluring after living in Eurorack for a long time of not having to make those decisions, right, about a system. It's just like, here's what you got. See what you can do. It's like that the creative limitations really sometimes can focus you in a good way.
Yeah, I did. Per that, I traded this kid Max, who was at the show, for this thing. I forget who makes it. It's the M8. Have you guys seen this thing? It's a tracker. It's a little tracker device that I traded my data for this because I never used my data. So I was like, I'll trade my data for this. But it's let me see if I can get it to turn on. It's M8, and it has basically multi-track tracker sequencer in it, and 8 virtual braids, and an FM synthesizer, and whatever, like all this stuff built into this.
Nice.
And it's got 2 little built-in speakers, and you could make chip tunes with it, but you can make some really cool sounding stuff. So I've been trying to. It's a little convoluted to learn, though. I've been starting to dive in to learn this as
How many buttons are on that thing? So it looks like there's 5 buttons on there.
Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It
So it's all
that.
It's just all menu going around, and you program stuff in. But like the demo song sounds dope, and I'm like, this is perfect little companion to compose something, and it has full MIDI out controllability too and stuff. So it's kind of cool little composition tool.
We'll reach out to Dean because it seems like Dean's getting one, and he's all excited about one. So
Dirty Wave M8. That's it.
Dirty Wave M8. That's cool. I know this is talking mostly about modular, but I definitely was. You're talking about you have that Kai push. I've been looking at the MPC one. I looked at the Apollyon tracker as well. Yeah, there's something about those kind of little like groove boxes, everything boxes right now that kind of are a little appealing.
Yeah.
Especially now that if they have CV outs, then I'm pretty much like interested. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
That's like my kind of rule. Like if it has CV out, then I'll look at it,
That's like Corey from, which by the way, I forgot to mention that at NobCon. The Osiris sounded dope.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered one.
It's rad.
But Corey uses the Akai Force for his main thing, and I was like on the verge of selling mine, and Travarsi was like, talk to Corey about how he uses his, and he actually like records multiple CV loops and records the audio of those loops into little loops in the Force, and so he can go back and live perform and trigger the audio loops from whatever oscillator or sound source or patch he had when he first did it, but also patch it into something new and use the CV loops to do a new variation of it when he's live, which is just crazy. And so like I've been trying to figure out what flow of that could work for me, because anytime I can not touch my computer and make music, the better. And I know this is kind of like Ableton in a box, but it's still a box with pads and knobs, and it's not, and there's a touch screen, but it's not me sitting there on a mouse and typing and
no offense to anybody who's rocking the DAW. I mean, that's all good, but I think like I hear you. Like it's fun to be DAWless and lawless.
I just feel more creative when I'm in that mode than I do.
I think and some people are super creative with their computers. I hear that, but there's nothing. I think it's a distraction of the computer for me. Like I do work on my computer, my emails on my computer, my favorite show on Hulu's on my computer. It's so many different things. So I feel like it becomes really easy to get distracted. And when I'm sitting in front of this, and even if I do have like a desktop synth, whatever, at least I'm like, there's no email, no messaging going to come across, and definitely never you need an update. I mean, definitely there are updates, but I mean, how many people are out there running around with like modules they've never updated since day one? Probably lots.
Well, I got 2 modules. That just reminds me, I got to update some firmware this weekend.
I definitely went to an update morning. I got up and I updated my 512 vector sequencer, my Dust of Time, and my Bitbox. And I was like, whew. I mean, it could have been a lot longer, but man, I just was just like dreading it. I'm like, oh, I don't want to update all this stuff. But, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't just figuring out where to put a bin file. I've never heard of a bin file. This is like how non-programmer I am. I'm like, what the hell is a bin file? Now I know. I mean, I still don't know what it is, honestly, technically, but I know I need it. There's all these things that I'm learning about computers and electronics because I want to play music on modular synths. For sure. Hey, real quick question. So you're talking about using that Akai push as your sequencer, and you got another sequencer, that tracker. But what is like your kind of go-to sequencer?
My main one in my rack, I actually have 2. I have the Erica Synths black sequencer and the Erica Synths drum sequencer for all my drums, and I just have them in a row to trigger everything. And then I also have the Pittsburgh Modular Micro Sequence, which is a little 10 HP 8-track.
Cool. Yeah, that's dope.
That's my favorite sequencer of all time. It's so fun. It's so immediate. It's really quick, and it's got quantization built in and a clock built in, and it's just badass. That's my favorite. But the black sequencer, I used to have an ER 101 and 102, and I really loved them. But
you shouldn't bring this up. People are going to start unfollowing you.
They're going to unfollow me because I sold them, and I got the black sequencer first, tried it, and I was like, oh, this does nearly everything, and it's more immediate for me, especially with the magic button and the way you can set it up. It's really cool to quickly switch things up and change things up, and the the little 16 grid and being able to mute individual notes very quickly and stuff. It's just very immediate to play. So I really love it. But I am going to get, I've committed to buy a vector sequencer as soon as he comes out with the black panels. I told him I would get one. And then I'll
if you need to. It's a great sequencer. Sam, what do you use? What are you using for, what's your sequencer?
I have the Eloquencer, which I
Okay.
love.
Cool.
And then I also have a Metron, which I also love. Different beats, obviously. Those are my main two. I have a Tetrapad Tet combo, but I don't use it so much for sequencing as more as like, you know, the touch, and the voltage pad stuff is cool. Yeah, those two. I used to have a Rene too, which I regret selling.
How's the Eloquencer? I've never used it, but I've always thought I should get one of those. But then
Yeah, me too. But that was I tried buying one of those when they first came out, and they were already sold out. So I had to wait, and then I ended up just getting something else.
Yeah,
my friend Grant has one. It looks awesome.
I really like it. I mean, again, it's kind of like what you vibe with, you know.
Yeah.
But it's super playable. It's a little bit more setup intensive, I guess I would say, for like chaining patterns and things like this. But that being said, it's just a learning curve like anything else. I like it. I really like that sort of, you can do some cool randomization and recall things, which I'm sure lots of other sequencers can do. And actually I have the expander on there, the EME as well. It's like the MIDI in, and it gives you 4 extra buttons. And that's great because then it kind of also doubles as like a MIDI to CV converter, or vice versa too. So yeah, it's pretty flexible, and it's just fun to jam on for me.
Yeah, that's the way the Black sequencer is, because it has like what I like to do is load up like a pattern to start with that I've dialed in before I do something, and then I start playing, and then you can set parameters for the magic button, so you can set it to only randomize everything within a certain octaves or whatever, and all in the same key, and so I can sit there with all 4 tracks and magic my way through some things that are musically similar for a while, and then reload the whole pattern back to what I started at, and so it has, a structure that makes sense and makes people go, oh, we're back to the song,
Yeah,
so
you can click your heels together and you're back.
Yeah,
it's
cool.
nice.
That's cool. That's cool. And you have the Metron. Do you have the Voltrons? Not the Voltrons.
Yeah, the Volteras. I do have 2 of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's harder for me to. Haven't found it as easy to sequence like melodically that way, but I love them for sending out, sort of modulation alongside the Metron.
Yeah, that's one that. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, every time I've thought about buying the Metron, I don't know, 12, 15 times, and every time I've gone to buy it, they've been sold out everywhere, and I've been like, oh, never mind, and then I end up getting something else and working with it for a while, and then no, I'll go buy a Metron, sold out.
The fill effects on that thing are so fun. Like I've lost like hours and hours just being like, it's like, oh my god, it's midnight, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah. And if you actually start building your own fills, then that's a whole nother. Honestly, I mean, it is definitely one of the most underrated, powerful sequencers out there. And if you have the Volterra attached to it, it is super deep, great, awesome stuff. And there's stuff on there that I've had it since day one. I don't have a module one by any means, but I definitely have like the first batch. There's still stuff I haven't even messed around with, like the assign-ins, and it's so much fun. It's super great to like instantly start making stuff. The random, the being able to do the different secret lengths.
Yeah, that's super cool too. And just that you can kind of like, it's so intuitive just to be like, boom, 3, 7.
Yeah, yeah. It's very It feels like I think I always say it's like great if you grew up with like drum sequencers, like old school like drum machines. I feel it has that vibe to it for sure. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's still one of my favorite. But one of the things I do want to do is take it out, put it into my 104 case with the Volterra, and just like work on it. Just like practice.
Just live with it. Yeah.
Live with it for like and just like figure out all that cool Volterra stuff on there, and even some of the modulation stuff with the assignable ins, because you can do ambient stuff on it for sure. You can, and you definitely can do IDM weirdness as well. But
that's cool. I mean, I have so much learning debt with my stuff. It's like
That's a great way to put
it's
it.
never ending.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, here we go.
That's true. I'm gonna have to bring that. I'm gonna use that term. Like next time someone wants to like pick up something, like how much learning debt do you have already?
Yeah. How much are you carrying?
Exactly. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I get it. Um, I want to talk real quickly about this Sunday that we're doing. So people who are watching, we're going to be doing a live stream out of Boulder, Colorado, from Building 61. We're going to be doing a show about DIY modular. And one thing I want to kind of bring up, lots of reasons why I bring it up, but I want to kind of talk real quick about these waveform kits that this one I'm really excited about. This is the catwalk ribbon.
Oh yeah, that thing's fun.
So you guys made these cool. I have the other one's the catwalk molds. I think I got 2 molds. But the cool thing about these, if people don't know, and they would if they are subscribing to your magazine, which they should, these are also 0 HP technically, right?
Technically, yep. Yeah, they sit. They're sort of designed to sit, I guess, perpendicular to your other modules.
Mm-hmm.
Above. Well, wherever you can. They're sort of flexible, so depending on, they kind of span different HP widths, and you can get them hooked up on top of your case, above or in the middle or on the screws, and then they're all passive.
Yeah, it's cool.
I guess the ribbon controller, you got to feed it like an LFO, excuse me, or like an offset to give it some power, but it doesn't have to be hooked into a power supply.
Right. So let me just pull one of these up so people can see what we're talking about. Let me just get this up here. So yeah, that's how it sits, which I think is so clever, and I just never had seen that before, and it's such a great idea, especially for us that have either little room or who are working with like the nice little 104 cases or smaller cases.
Yeah,
It's so slick. That's a great idea, and I love it. It's passive, and I love it. So I'm super excited. That's kind of the reason why we decided to go with those for the
That's awesome.
DIY build.
Yeah, cool. And they're nice and easy to build, so even a noob like me can put them together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, these don't look terribly. I mean, the molds aren't very complicated.
No.
It shouldn't be. Although I think it took me like an hour and a half to like get one good solder on the first time I tried building a module. I was like, yeah, but yeah.
That's cool. I built myself something similar out of passive modules and a 7U rack that I made only 6 HP wide. So I had this little skiff I made that has 3 Keying DP-LPGs and 2 OR switches and a little attenuator on the top from Pulp Logic, just as I call it the wand, and I have it between my 2 cases as like a little VCA patch bay that I use. But it's the same sort of thing, sits perpendicular to everything else and just lets me connect everything between the 2 setups. But it's heavy. I was going to bring it with me too. You could beat somebody with this. I need to redesign a plastic one because I was like, they're going to stop me in the airport if I try to fly with that thing.
This is the one I'm super excited about, this ribbon cable here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's just awesome.
How does it sound? Like, does it sound like is it like a poor man's instrument? Like, is it like
pretty poor man's?
Really poor.
I mean, it sort of depends on what you plug it into, but you can get pitch on there. You can send out modulation, and depending on what you've sort of powering it with, you can get kind of funky, cool glitchiness. It's pretty far from a instrument, though.
And it's not priced like it is.
That's true. So you can get a lot of catwalk ribbon controllers for the price of an instrument.
Exactly. Maybe that's a project for somebody out there to recreate the instrument with all the catwalk modules out there. That'd be awesome. I'm super excited about that. I saw the one thing I wanted to do, I didn't get it because I didn't think we have enough time to build it during the show, because I want to get that oscillator, that gateway oscillator at some point. Not the oscillator. I mean the
the oscilloscope.
Oscilloscope, which is super cool. So tell me a little bit about these real quick. These signature panels. These are kind of cool. What's going on here?
Oh well, we did a couple of those just with people that we interviewed that we thought would make some nice quotes. I mean, Heimbach obviously big on the scene. We did one for Richard Devine, so
that's cool.
Just kind of a fun way to have some sort of magazine related things in the rack. Besides,
it's awesome. And I saw somebody on their forum on our Discord had just built one of these and said this is pretty fun.
Yeah, the music box is awesome, especially it's aimed at people just starting out or people who have outgrown their current case and don't want to. There's always the situation where you're like, 208, that's it. And then 2 weeks later, you're like, what's on reverb for another case? You know what I mean? Or,
yeah, exactly. So quick.
Or people just getting into modular, because it's a big barrier when, how much is a module and then how much is a case? It's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So yeah, we wanted to have a way to sort of lower that barrier to entry.
It's
kind of like how the crack dealer gives you your first dose for free.
Yeah, that's right. It's how you get in. yeah. And so now what's up with the speaker on this? You can. It's an optional speaker. So there's a speaker that you can hook up, and then I think there's a picture on there of you can see a couple holes in the backside. We also have I think it's 3 HP passive mixer called the Meow Mixer that will actually fit on the backside, so you can kind of have an integrated mixer. Okay.
And then connect up to the speaker.
And how much is this?
I forget. I think it's 80, 100. Yeah,
129.
Yeah.
These
are free shipping with
including power.
Yeah.
And it's 60 HP.
Yeah.
No, it looks fun. No, you take it to the park,
Yeah.
Hang out with your friends. I like that you guys have the little beer cup holder.
Yeah, the cactus. Because synths and plants. They kind of...
Oh, I know. I'm all over it. I have my my plants. Actually, I lost my plants. Now that you mention it, I think about 5 streams ago, I lost my plants. If anybody's watching and seen my plants, let me know. Totally lost it. Things out of control here. So this is crazy. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I love that you guys are doing that. The last issue just came out not too long ago, I feel like.
Yeah, that was we kept calling it our COVID issue. It came out a little bit later than we had anticipated. But we're getting pretty close to issue number 7 being done, so keep an eye out for that.
Will a new module come with that as well, or is there going to be?
Yeah, I forget. Allison, we keep kind of going back and forth on what he's gonna have in there. But yes, there'll be another DIY project in there as well for number 7.
We'll have
to be announced.
To be announced. To be yeah, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate everything you guys are doing on that front. It's really great. I hope people check it out for sure.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and yeah, do check it out if you haven't. We're just having fun and trying to make something cool for the community, or for the community. So.
Well, big ups, because I know people say print's dead, but you're on issue 6, so
yeah,
you're keeping it alive. Especially about synthesizers, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's similar. I always say this is like, it's the same reason. It's just nice to have a physical object. Sometimes it's just same draw. I think is why hardware synthesizers are cool. It's, yes, you could do everything in a computer, and that's totally valid. And yep, you can read all you want online or on your Kindle, but sometimes it's nice to have a thing. That being said, we do offer a digital subscription.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel the same way about Bandcamp. I'm like, yeah, I could probably put a cassette, but it's probably easier for you just to download. But it's nice to have those options out there for sure. And I hear you. So I think that's good. I like my physical copy.
Cheers.
Nice to sit around. And the funny thing, I used to just take them with me to the meetups and just put them out there. And sure enough, someone would always pick it up.
Nice.
So for sure. I wanted to wrap up with this interview I did with Omri Cohen. But before I do that, I want to thank Sam and CK Sample for coming over and hanging out with me for an hour. It's been super awesome. I really appreciate it. If you're in Colorado area on Sunday, you could do two things. It's a super Sunday, honestly, in Colorado. To be honest with you, like if you get up through Carbondale, you guys start at what, 9 o'clock in the morning?
9 to noon. Yep, at Craft Coffee in Carbondale, right on Main Street.
Yeah, and if you don't know where Carbondale is and you feel like you want to get on a plane or just drive into Colorado, Carbondale is like what, 3.5 hours from Denver or so?
Yeah, about that. It's you could fly into Aspen on your jet too.
Exactly.
And drive down if you're inclined.
And if you are flying into Aspen, holler at your boy, because we need to chat. I need a good Aspen hookup. No, yeah, I really hope at some point to come out there and visit you all and maybe even jam with you. I saw the Surging Mass is gonna come up there and hang out with you all.
Oh, right on. Yeah, that'd be the more the merrier. It'd be great.
Yeah. So that's until noon, and then you quickly jump in your car and
or your jet,
on your plane, or your jet, or your helicopter. I don't know, however you roll.
Hover boots.
Hover boots. Yeah, exactly. I mean, who doesn't have hover boots right now? So then you can come down to Boulder and hang out with me and a few other friends. We're going to be doing the DIY Modular Show. That's at 2 p.m. And I'll be posting about this in the Instagrams and on our Discords, and everybody will be annoyed with it to be too much. But I'm super excited. That's going to be awesome. We're actually going to have the guys from Starling come over and talk with us about their modules and their approach to DIY. I'm super excited. Just having our very first conversation, just getting ready for that show. We start talking about the origins of DIY, like the old school, way of people doing DIY with circuit bending and then building their own stuff from scratch before kits necessarily. So it's going to be great. Talk about the future of that. The SoCal Society, Synth Societies, they're going to tap in and hang out with us, and they're going to be building some stuff on their end. So that'll be fun. There's going to be a performance by sound unit. It's just packed full of fun stuff, and we'll be building these kits on site. And we're also going to have a talk by Bryce Wimple, who from Band Reject, and he knows a ton about building kits and building stuff. So it's gonna be a real awesome synthy Sunday in Colorado. So and then CK, I know you're doing. Are you doing the birthday EMS stream at all? Or
I told them I don't like to schedule anything really. And so I told them all that I would just fill in whenever there was a gap at some point, which is what I've done for it's very on brand for me and Earth Modular Society, because every time they've had a stream chain, I've never actually signed up, but I end up squeezing in at some point and playing. I just, do it. So I'll be on it. It's on the 3rd. Is it the 3rd? I don't know. October 3rd, I think.
I don't know. I just love the flyer, and I just keep looking at it because I don't know if you've seen this flyer for EMS's birthday stream, but it's a picture of a cake.
Yeah.
That looks like a synthesizer, and I'm already in love. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, and if anybody watching is not familiar with EMS, it's a great place to go and just try it. Try streaming. You've never done it before.
Yeah.
Come and stream on EMS. I owe me not sucking on modular at this point to me going on EMS and just streaming every chance I could get. And and having like a nice group of people that tune in and say, oh, that sounds awesome. Oh, what'd you do there? And like, like having that like at all times, it's a really good community alongside, all the big events that Colorado Modular Society, SoCal Synth Society, New York Modular Society put on that are a little bit more shows. This is a little bit more informal, like open mic night all the time, 24/7. So come join us and check it out.
It's so ambitious and it's so friendly, and I look at that Discord sometimes and just like, man, this is like the hub of friendly, supportive people. It really is a true community, and one of these days I'm going to get on there. I honestly, I'll tell you this, I will definitely do an EMS like performance before I do the blast one, just because I just love the community on EMS. It's on my list of things and places to perform for sure, because I love it. And like you said, like it's a great place for people to cut their teeth and just kind of practice, because there's not a lot of there's a lot of great people in there who will support you no matter what you're trying out. So
totally,
I love it. All right, well, we'll look out for you in between performances.
Just follow me on YouTube. I'm streaming all the time, so you
have a lot of stuff out. You got a lot of stuff out, and we played your music on the on our shows before. So, and that reminds me, this is actually I totally forgot about this. Next week is going to be, if I'm right, is that Bandcamp Friday? I don't know if they're doing it, but we're gonna do it.
Cool.
So we'll probably focus on that. So I'll put a post out about that so people can send in their music. Which
I could release another track.
Yeah, head over to our Colorado.
Pressure's on.
Yeah, exactly. Get over. Well, I know Sam's going to be recording Sunday's session, I'm sure, and he'll put that on Bandcamp, right? Exactly.
You broke up there. I didn't know.
No pressure. Come on. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for stopping by, guys. I appreciate it. You guys take care. I'll put you in the green rooms. Talk to you guys later. Awesome. So next, I want to really quick. I had Omri Cohen come down. I'm not talking about. He didn't come down. He woke up early. We got online to record this because it's like midnight there. I think it's like 1:00 there in Germany. So he. Let me just stop my screen searcher. Sorry, everybody. I gotta figure out how to do this. Anyhow, he came down. We want to talk about what's going on with the Mycelium Symposium, which is tomorrow, and that is a really cool event. But let me just play the interview for everybody so they can check out this quick talk that we had with Omri Cohen, master of VCV rack and Euro rack integration, amongst other things. Welcome. Hey, everybody. I am speaking with Omri Cohen, and he is, we meet up early for me, afternoon for him, for this interview for the Modular Beat. I wanted to have you on because of the event that's coming up on the 25th, Mycelium Symposium, and I wanted to quickly chat with you and have you tell us a little bit more about this event because it's super exciting and I want everybody to watch it for sure. So, cool. Omri, go ahead and for people who don't know you, why don't you just give everybody a real quick rundown of who you are and what you're up to, and then talk a little bit about your event on YouTube this weekend.
Cool, sweet. So I have a channel concentrating on mostly VCV rack, learning modular with VCV rack, patching with VCV rack, but also with hardware, making music with VCV rack and hardware, Euro rack. And the event, Mycelium Symposium, is actually an event celebrating the combination of virtual modular and hardware modular, combining VCV rack with Euro rack music. There are also a few presentations. There's a presentation from Befaco. They will introduce their new modules in VCV rack. There are a few new modules from Befaco coming into VCV rack soon. Also from Volt about the new collection from VCV, the VCV drums. And there's another presentation from Dash Glitch. He has also a YouTube channel dedicated for synthesis and for making, producing psytrance and also some Eurorack and modular content. And there are also all sorts of different performances, again, with VCV Rack and Eurorack, combining both worlds, virtual and hardware. Yeah, and it will be fun. I hope it will be.
Yeah.
It's actually the second one already. There was one in a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to do one every half a year. This is the second one. The first one was a huge success.
Yeah, it was awesome. I checked it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'll
It was
put
fun,
links.
yeah.
I'll put links in the chat and then in the description for people to go check those out after watching this show. How many people are going to? You have the discussions, but how many folks do you think are playing this show?
Playing, I think around 10 or 12 even, something like this. So there were around 12 performances, I guess. And yeah, and it's going to be cool. It's going to be fun. It's quite long. It's about 4 hours. So there will be also a break in the middle. Yeah, but lots of sounds, lots of ideas. Yeah, I hope you can join us.
Yeah, that sounds great. I love the idea of virtual mixing with the hardware, especially VCV Rack seems to be so friendly for that. I know there's other virtual modular, but in this particular show, most everybody in the show is probably using VCV Rack, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, basically, it's open to all virtual modular software. But I think everyone chose to use VCV Rack. And I think it's also the most accessible, and it's the closest thing to Eurorack. So it's more intuitive to use, I guess. So yeah, basically mostly VCV Rack and Eurorack, yeah, making sounds together.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so you're gonna try to do 2 a year. So
yeah.
Awesome.
Every half a year there will be one, I hope. I mean, this is the plan. The last one was in March, I guess. Yeah. So every half a year. Yeah.
And are you performing in it too, or?
Yeah. I'm closing the event. I try to. I thought about not making it because it's not about me. It's about, it's about the event. It's about the combination of both worlds. But I'm closing the event. I made something really fun. Also, last time it was really fun. Also, last time I did something similar. I also combined my voice last time, and this time again. I cannot say I'm singing, but I have my voice in there. Yeah.
Someone else uses their voice is my partner Monoscene, and he's performing at this one too.
Yeah, he's opening the event. Actually, he's the first performer. Yeah, I didn't listen to anything still. I mean, people sent me stuff. I just looked at how it looks like, and when I edited everything, it will not be live, by the way. It will be premiered on my channel, but there will be the live chat. So I can't wait to listen to everything because I didn't listen to any performance still, or didn't look at the presentations. I have no idea what's going on. It will be totally glitchy and whatever.
Nice.
But I hope everything will go well, and I'm really excited. Yeah, I can't wait to listen to everything. Yeah, so Monoscene is opening the event.
Cool. That's great. Okay, cool. So you and everybody else is gonna find out exactly what's playing live. There'll be a live chat.
Yeah.
And I'll leave the links below for everybody to get on your YouTube if they're not already subscribed, which they should be for sure. Because on that channel, besides the show, you also have a lot of great videos about VCV Rack and also hardware as well.
Yeah. About modular synthesis, working, patching, making music, making sounds. I also upload my music there. Yeah, it's a fun channel. If you're into it, it's a fun channel.
That's awesome. So one of the things we're trying to do on this show is also talk about new modules coming out, but we should start expanding that to talk about new VCV modules coming out. You're really good about having show episodes on your channel about tinkering and experimenting with new things coming out. So definitely. I'll lean to you on being the expert on more things virtual.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know if there's anything coming out that we should take a look at or
Well, actually,
see.
as I understood it, there should come the next version of VCVREC soon in November. Should be released.
Okay, cool.
Which should be quite an update because there should be also the VST version of VCVREC coming out in November, which means that people can use VCVREC inside their DAW and stuff like this.
That's awesome.
Waited for it. Yeah.
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 And you're seeing, I mean, I feel like it's been happening the last few months or maybe the last year or so, where more hardware Euro rack manufacturers are starting to put their stuff out in VCV rack, or even starting in VCV rack and before they're putting them out.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that too?
A good example is Instruo, which I think in the beginning of the year they released most of their collection in VCV rack for free also, so you can go and try the modules, experiment with the modules, find new ideas how to use them in VCVREC and then go and use them also in hardware. Another good example is Befaco. Again, I mentioned they will release more modules now, like MOOC Slicer, and the new MOOC Slicer expander also will also be in VCVREC. Yeah, so you can go again. Also, this is for free, so you can go for free and experiment with the modules. I find it that I try all sorts of new things in VCVREC that I don't try in hardware, and then I go and I take those ideas into hardware, and I learn new things, I guess. And also a good example is Vult that started in VCVREC. And now has also hardware modules. So it's designing also hardware modules. So it goes both ways, yeah.
Yeah, we're on Sunday. We're doing a show on Sunday for DIY Modular, and we're having Starling is coming on there. I know Starling has all their stuff on VCV rack as well. Yeah. Noise Engineering are they doing VCV rack too?
No, they're doing VSTs.
I don't know why is it doing this weird fading out thing. I'm going to repost this video for sure because it's something I did with I guess the rendering of it or something. I must have messed that up. It's like totally, you're not going nuts if you're watching that show and you're like it's like it's getting so much darker. It's actually kind of messed up, but I'll repost it this evening or something, and people can check it out. It's so weird. Look at it, it's just like fading out. Like we're just talking and fading into nothing. Even the sound's fading out. Comparisons of that. I'm not going to make people trip out that they think. I was watching and I was thinking, man, are my eyes getting worse? Is this getting so weird? Anyhow, so apologies. I will play because he's talking about different things there in VCV rack and stuff. So and if you saw it, like hit him up, let him know you saw this episode, even though it's faded out wrong. I'll put it back up. But let him know because we're gonna try to talk Omri into staying up late one night to be on the show. So that would be really fun. So hit him up and tell him to stay up late and hang out with us in a future Friday show. For sure. So weird. That was so weird. I apologize. So weird. Well, you know what? This is a live show. This is a weekly live show that I'm doing, and I thought I'd do at least 4 episodes to see how it goes. And some weird stuff's happening, so it's all good. That's what's to be expected when you're kind of testing stuff out, and doing stuff live. But thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. Definitely tune into Omri's show tomorrow. Hang out with him. I'll put this video up if I could figure out what the heck I did wrong. Hopefully it's not fading out. And then also you check out our shows on Sunday. That's gonna be really great. So if you're on this channel, please like and subscribe. And go check out the show for Sunday, the DIY Modular. It's gonna be amazing. So good. And thank you to Patchworks. Thank you for Sam at Waveform Magazine. And can't wait to build these kits. And also thanks to CK Sample for coming over and talking to us about what he saw at NobCon and all that good stuff and what he's up to. You guys are the best. I really appreciate it. Without you 12, 15 people watching live, wouldn't be half as fun. So take care, everybody. Be safe, and let's talk soon. Thank you for watching the Modular Beat, the #1 show for extreme fade outs. Thanks, everybody. Take care.